Hello, everyone. First, thanks to everyone who came out and everyone who's read and going to read. And thank you to Cheryl for her beautiful words. The only thing I disagreed with was her point about writing making you intimate with yourself. I've been intimate with myself since I was 10. So for telling that joke, I'll probably have to be intimate with myself tonight. So. This is a story called Blind Dog. Lucy and I had gotten into a big fight. I was being an asshole as usual, but it was hard to see it at the time. I was hungry, but staying in the apartment was seeming like a bad idea. I couldn't stand hearing Frederick get the fuck out of here anymore, so I had to leave. It was almost 11, and everything was closed except the Shake and Steak, which was 24/7. Shake and Steak had good hot dogs, but it was at the waterfront shopping complex about 2 miles away. Being in the doghouse with Lou, there was no way to get a ride. I decided to walk. I needed the fresh air anyway. I left the apartment and started toward the waterfront. My stomach hurt. I hadn't been able to crap in a few days, but I pressed on. I walked through Main Street, which would take me almost all the way there. Main Street was a pretty drag, with lots of small pizza places and bars. There was a tailor shop and Herman's Pharmacy, where they still sold penny candy. Main Street was a slice of American pie. I strolled down the sidewalk, wondering how I ever got an apartment near such a place. I was used to the dirtier areas of Pittsburgh. After a while, the small businesses ended, and the homes began. In front of a decent-sized house, a man and a woman were sitting on a lawn bench drinking beer. They had a small black dog, short-haired and jittery. The dog waved its head through the air as the woman held it in her arms, petting its back. "Evening," the man said to me between sips of beer. "Yep," I said. Suddenly the dog burst from the woman's arms and ran to me, yelping frantically. With its nose sniffing wildly through the air, it began attacking me with the legs. Only nipping at my pants and socks, I barely felt anything, but the little bastard was trying to bite hard. "Hey, hey," the woman said to the dog. "Come here, come back here." I shook the dog off. It turned, ran, and leaped back into the arms of the woman. I continued walking. "Don't be offended," the man shouted to me, almost half a block away already. "He's blind." I waved my arm through the air and gave a thumbs up, never stopping. Poor idiot thing, I thought. It didn't know what a stupid choice it was making. I could have snapped in two with one stomp. The dumb thing just didn't know any better. The mutt was lucky I had jumped back in that woman's arms. I continued on without incident, but began to get hungrier. I sped up my pace, hoping to make it to a Shake and Steak before midnight. At the end of Main Street, I hit a fork, left, and I would go down the steep West Street, which had the police station. The way I'd been treated by those cops in the past, I decided not to go that way. Instinctively, I went right, going up and through the avenues of Homestead. I used to live on 10th Ave, so I knew my way through there easily. There was less traffic, and it was quieter, but there was the occasional gang, which I had a defense against. When going through the avenues, I always walked differently. I widened my legs and made large steps. I slumped my shoulders down and out, letting my arms sway broadly as I went to make myself look bigger than I was. I lifted my old beat fedora and let hair fall in front of my face. Finally, I squinted my eyes and pushed my jaw forward so a few bottom teeth showed. I looked like an insane animal. But in a bad neighborhood, the strangest thing a person could see was a stocky, out-of-place madman roaming the streets. Seeing that, a person couldn't predict what I was capable of, which was absolutely nothing. But they didn't know that, so I was always left alone. Starting at 22nd Ave, I began walking up in my wild way, never looking back or around myself. I made you seem like a tourist. At 18th, a fire engine raced by, and I noticed the street was wet. There was a fire near the corner of Maple and 16th, smoke filling the air. I could actually barely see a thing, but nobody was around watching anyway. The avenues were dead. It was quiet enough to hear the soft buzzing of the street lights above. Nobody was around doing anything. Just me looking like a fool while a house was burning down half a block away. I straightened up as I walked past a fireman standing at the corner. Then when he was far enough away, I slumped down again. The night was hot, balmy. Hungry and tired, I began dragging my feet. The heels of my shoes had worn down to the wood long ago, and the nails holding them on the shoe scraped against the pavement. There was a breeze blowing from behind me. As I walked between a church and an abandoned old folks' home, the space became a small wind tunnel, and I was cooled off. I stopped to enjoy the breeze. My stomach was starting to really hurt, so I needed to stop anyway. Then, between the sounds of the firefighters a few blocks away, the street lights buzzing in the wind, I heard footsteps coming from behind. I continued walking, my legs wide and my arms swaying, without giving the footsteps any notice. Turn around would be foolish. I looked straight ahead. "You look like a damn monkey, boy," I heard a voice say. Well, the animal routine wasn't going to work. Why did I go this way, through the avenues? I should have known better, I thought. I decided that if something was going to happen, I might as well let it. After walking another block, I stopped. A playground was next to me, and it seemed like a confusing enough place to run through and get away. However, the playground was fenced off, and I wasn't in good enough shape to hop it before getting snatched up. Standing still, I heard the footsteps coming near, and it was more than one person. I bent down and pretended to tie my shoe, hoping they would pass. The footsteps continued, louder and closer, as I went through the motions of tying the shoe. I felt something, probably the diameter of a nickel, jab into the back of my neck. "Get up," the voice said. I stood up, and whatever was on my neck was pulled away and jabbed into my back instead, harder this time. Yeah, that's a gun, I thought. Definitely. "You got a wallet?" "Yeah," I said, "but there's nothing in it." He reached into my back pocket and took the wallet. He lowered the gun and turned me around. He was a skinny black man, medium height, baggy jeans. At his left was a white guy with a headband and tattoos of barbed wire on his arms. At his right was a black kid, no older than 14, with a bunch of rings on his fingers and a shirt that said "Wick." The head man, the one with the gun, opened up my wallet and took out $5 all in ones. There goes my hot dog, I thought. Damn. The head man looked at my ID. "Frederick Anderson," he mumbled. "All right now, Frederick Anderson, what's on here?" he said, smiling as he pulled out my ATM card. I chuckled to myself. There's less on there than's in my wallet. "Man, how do you pay your bills?" the young kid asked me. I thought for a moment and said, "That's a really good question." "You got a smart mouth, white boy," the white guy said to me. "You ever get in trouble for your smart mouth?" "Steve, did you just call him white boy?" the head man said to Steve, the white guy. "What did I tell you about that shit? Just 'cause I let you hang with us don't mean..." Just then I threw back my torso, winding up for a big right-hander, the kind of glorious fucking haymaker that would kill a man in a movie. He'd be on the ground and the other two wouldn't have any idea what to do. The white guy looked easy enough, and the kid was probably very nimble, but manageable if I wrapped my hand around his shirt and got him in close. I'd knock all three of them in the next week. What a sight. Before I could connect, my stomach cramped terribly and I locked up. The head man quickly hit into my belly with the butt of his pistol, and I went down. They began kicking me in the side and the stomach, and it hurt like hell. Looking out past the 3 pairs of legs whacking away at me, I saw no one. A few houses in the distance shut out their lights. My stomach began turning in and around itself. The 3 guys kept kicking at me, and then it happened. "Oh, damn," the head man said. "Do you smell that?" "Ew," the kid said. "I think he crapped himself." "Well, did ya?" the white guy asked. Holding at my ribs, I was able to wiggle around slightly, feeling the chunky warmth of it spread over the back of me. Ah, shit, I thought. I had envisioned a lot of ways to go, but this wasn't one of them. I thought you crapped yourself after you died. "Wow-wee," the kid laughed. "We kicked the shit out of him. Get it? You get it?" He nudged the head man. "Hey, you get that? I said we..." I said we kicked the shit out of you. Shut up, Marvin. What you want to do? The white guy asked. Let's just go, the head guy said, shaking his head and shoving the $5 into his pocket. He put the ATM card back in my wallet and threw it into my chest. Boy, he said to me, you a mess. The three guys left, and I thanked the Lord for constipation. Again, I thought, why had I gone this way? I was just too dumb to know any better. Once they were far enough away, I stood up. I took off my shirt and tank top, dipping the latter into a puddle of water from a nearby fire hydrant. I painfully, slowly climbed the fence, going into a playground and, under a small tree, took off the rest of my clothes. I threw my underwear on the ground and used the wet tank top to wipe and clean as much shit off as I could. I fingered at my side, and everything hurt, but nothing felt broken. I looked at my watch, which was smashed but still ticking. It was after midnight. I just needed to get back to Lucy, get back in her arms where it was safe. I left the playground and started toward the apartment, angry and tired and stinking. If I saw that little blind dog again, I thought, I was going to kick it in its goddamn stomach.